Well, good evening, viewers, and welcome back to Fair Play Racing League. It's Wednesday evening, and that can only mean one thing. Tier 3 are back, once again, to put on what we hope is another thrilling race in Chapter 16 of Season 3 in FPRL. We move into the last quarter of the calendar now, only 5 races left, including tonight's race here under the floodlights in Singapore, home of the first but somewhat controversial night race way back in 2008. Marina Bay presents the drivers with a unique challenge tonight. The course, famously known for presenting us with a safety car opportunity at every race that has been held here ever, meaning strategy could be absolutely key to success for the 18 drivers that line up in the field tonight. Whilst theoretically our championship leader Snedden can wrap up the driver's title tonight, it is highly unlikely as there are a lot of permutations which must occur in order for that to happen. But we'll get back to that one a little later on. But for now, TJ, good evening. Thank you for joining me this week, as always. There's definitely an interesting fight hotting up for P2 in the driver's standings at the moment. And based on current form, last week's race winner, Valente, looks like he's up for taking that P2 at least away from him from this race this evening. Can he do it, or has someone else caught your eye in practice this week?
Yeah, good evening, Biddle. Pleasure to join you again. So P2, given the form that Blenty's shown, he won the race last time round, and he has been on the podium 4 times in a row. So it's going to take a lot to beat the Ferrari driver at this point. Saying that, though, we have got Taras back again today. Perhaps he can throw a bit of span in the works. But as you mentioned, the battle for P2 currently is really close. I mean, there's 11 points covering P2 to P5, and then there's 19 points covering back to P6. So it just shows how close it is there. And as you mentioned, anything could happen.
Yeah, most definitely. Interesting point you mentioned, Tadas being back, of course. He's got an important role tonight. I think you just touched upon it. Can he help his teammate in any way secure that title this evening? It is highly unlikely, as I said. I think there has to be a massive point swing, especially to Magsy in second place. I think you can't lose something more like 22 points to Snedden in order to take the fight onto next week, round 17. So it is unlikely Snedden can do it, but it is mathematically possible on paper. But Snedden's not been in the best form recently either, especially last week. He looked like he was on for a win there and struggled, and obviously people that tuned in know what happened to him in that race. Given the nature of this circuit, do you think we could see an unforced error from him this evening?
This track it's a very punishing track to drivers, especially if they've got the right setup. As you go through sector 2s and 3, it really ramps up your tyre temperatures, it really punches the rears on the right hand side of the car. One slight mistake, just pulling your steering a bit too far and lock, you've lost the car and you're into the wall. So once again, this is a very technical track. It's all about keeping your temperatures down. And Snedden, knowing he could potentially wrap up the championship tonight, will have a lot. It's got a heavy head as such.
Yeah, definitely pressure on his shoulders, but of course if he doesn't do it tonight, there's still 4 more races after this where he can wrap up that title. It is all but done at the front of the field in Tier 3 at the moment. But as we mentioned, the race for second place definitely hotting up as things stand, and the main protagonists are all in the field tonight. Magsy, Valente and Locke are all there as well. Nigel Piggle, of course, will be looking to have a say in perhaps the podium today. We know he has got pace, but he hasn't been consistent enough in showing it in this Tier 3, and that's perhaps why he's not challenging towards the front as much in terms of the championship.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a shame for Nigel. As you mentioned, he has got a lot of pace behind him, that the Haas driver has. But it's just unfortunate for some reason that, he's had really good races, and other races he's been really off the pace, and that's damaged his championship battle list for this season. But assuming he can get that form back, we have seen it past couple of races where he has bounced back and he's up there. Perhaps carrying that form at the end of the season, maybe looking at challenging for next season.
Yep, of course, next season underway in a few weeks' time, following the release of the new F1 game, which is, I think, scheduled to come out on, is it the 1st of July? something around that time. It's a little bit different if you're paying an obscene amount of money, so we'll see how many people do that and get the extra practice in. But yeah, Nigel Pickle will, let's hope he's here next season to try and put on a title fight. Then we've seen some times on the board already, 5 drivers putting times down, and it is Valente at the moment that is currently leading those 5 drivers, a 37.6 from him, diving about half a second back. We just watched his lap, looked very controlled to say the least. I imagine a lot of the drivers will be taking it carefully at the moment. Not a surprise, TJ, to see a lot of the drivers 6 minutes into the session remaining in the pits, of course. If drivers crash out in the early parts, they won't have to push as hard, because obviously we won't lose as many drivers.
Yeah, that's right. Very tactical fair from the stay in the pits. Obviously, that does work as a disadvantage as well, that if no one does crash, you put unnecessary pressure on yourself because you've got to set that lap and make sure you get through. So it is a very risky game, but the reward's definitely there if people do, unfortunately, crash out in Q1.
All the drivers keeping it clean so far. Now with Hobnob on his hot lap at the moment. The yellow flag out ahead of him from McLaren, going a little bit slowly. Let's hope that doesn't distract him too much. His tyres up there. And Hobnob continuing on his way. I know this track is a little bit so-so in terms of invalidation, and all the drivers keeping well off the curbs at the moment. Do you think we're going to see drivers struggle to get a time in? I mean, we have only got 6 times on the board, given that we're nearly halfway through the session.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the track limits are they're really hit and miss around here. I don't think they're so bad in sector 1 or 2. It's in sector 3 where you know the mirrors are really hot and you are pushing to make sure you don't lose enough time and perhaps you drop over a curb a little bit too much. So yeah, so drivers are under pressure, as you mentioned. That we have only got 8 times on the board now, but even so, they from probably net air down, they're not lighting the world at them times.
Nope, but we've seen Hobnob put a time in of a 38.4 then to go P4 at the moment, just ahead of his Red Bull teammate Mongo, currently in P5, one of the early drivers to get the time on the board. We saw TS9 there having a bit of a mishap through the final corner. So easy to do there, you just lose the back end of the car and you kind of spin round like a pendulum almost, and it ruins both laps, of course, because now he has to take the pain of going around again, and yeah, that really can catch drivers out. Soprano Legend as well hasn't put a representative time in either. I wonder if he suffered the same fate as TS9. Both drivers look like they've avoided damage though, TJ. In terms of these soft tyres, I mean, how many laps do you think you can get out of them in one run in qualifying, and in the race do you think we're going to see many drivers use them?
I do think you can do I don't think you can do a double push lap, but you can definitely push, pull down, push. The tyre wear isn't too bad around here, I believe. As for the race, I think it's a hard one. I think the best tyre strategy starting is definitely mediums. As mentioned, tyre wear is really low, and the mediums do get you quite through into the race. But for softs, maybe some might gamble for it, but I think drivers will have the mindset of purely not setting a strategy and just playing around the safety car.
And it's obviously a very, very high possibility, as I mentioned. We've seen a safety car in at least every real world race in F1 around this circuit. Bet you a bottom dollar we're going to see a safety car this evening, given the some of the recent races that we've had in Tier 3. Not least last week in Australia, I think we had 4, something like that, 4 safety cars. I lost track in the end. I think we've had TS9 go round at the final corner again. He's carried on. He's set a slightly better time of 1:45. But yeah, he'll spin once again. Another driver who's back this week, El Gord, crosses the line. It's a 37.8 from him. Interestingly enough, not managing the ERS to the best of his ability, running out on the run towards the line. Wonder if that cost him any time there. And as you can see at the top of the table on the left hand side of the screen, Nigel Piggledon with a 37.1 to put down the early benchmark. Ooh, as we just see El Gord smack the wall there very graciously. Do you think that pace of Nigel Pickle is kind of the advantage he holds at the moment, or do you think, given it's Q1, a lot of the drivers behind him are just putting in safety laps at the moment and we haven't seen their best laps so far?
I think it's a bit of both. I think Nigel is showing his true pace here, but I also do think drivers are holding back. You know, it is, as I mentioned, it's a punishing track. The walls are pretty close. One mistake, and the chances are you are crashing out, unfortunately. So I do think we're going to see better times from the likes of Blente, Al Gore. He's a brilliant driver. Diamond, I expect to see him improve on his 38-2 as well. Tadas, Hobnob, even Locker. All these drivers I think could produce better times. I think they've just purely put a bit of a bank lap in themselves to make sure they can get through to Q2.
Yeah, that is what the early part of qualifying is all about, of course, just making sure you progress to the next part of qualifying. I'm watching a very tidy lap here from Magsy, one of those challengers at the moment for P2 in the championship. He currently stands P2 in the championship, only by 3 points though over last week's race winner. Bolente is yet to find some good form in the races recently, and he's been hampered slightly in his qualifying lap there by a Alpine that was round in front of him. I think it was Al Gore actually, as it gets very leery out of the second to last corner now. Can he avoid doing a TS9? He has done on this occasion. Doesn't run too far wide either, and it's a very respectable time there, a 1:37.5 from the Williams driver to take P2 not only in the championship but also in the drivers that have put a time in so far.
Yeah, fantastic lap from Magsy there. Once again, he's showing his pace. Once again, I still think he's probably got a little bit in the bag behind that. But from given the time he set there, he'll be pushing to continue his gap into P2. I am just on board as our championship leader, Snedden. He's had a bit of a nightmare. He invalidated his first lap. He has just had a bit of an incident to hit the wall, but I don't think he's got any damage. But he's going through the tricky part in sector 2 currently, where the tyres begin to get really hot and screaming at you. You got this little bit of a 180 onto the straight where you give the tyres a little breathing space, DRS wide open. As you race down to the end of sector 2, start of sector 3, purple sector 2. And now it's all about, once again, just matching his tyre temp to his next sector, making sure the rears don't give up on you. They've already gone through a lot of pain at this point. But Snedden's taking these perfectly beautifully, not really putting a foot wrong at moments. Coming around the last few corners, once again, this is where the rears might give up on you, but he's taking all the curb there, and he's just hit all his exiting as well, which won't help his time out, but he is going to come down to the finish line and still goes fastest, even though he hit the wall a couple of times.
The fastest with a 36.1 as well there, the championship leader, then over a second faster than Nigel Pickle, currently in P2, so it might have looked a scruffy lap, but it was still a fast lap nonetheless. And Snedden then laying down an absolute gauntlet for the drivers behind him. If that's his true pace and anything to go on later on in qualifying, keep hooking those laps up, it's hard to bet against him for pole position today. A great lap from him then, as his teammate Tadas then pops himself into P4 with a 1:37.6. One of the drivers in trouble at the moment, Skivid, validated the last lap. It would have been a 1:40 if he put it in. Not enough to get through nonetheless, but he's going to carry on around the same set of tyres. TJ, you just touched upon that actually. It was an interesting point about Sector 3 and the tyres. How they overheat in that final part of the lap. They go through such punishment in the early 2 sectors, it really does. I have known that you lose so much grip at the rear of the car through that final sector where you need it most, really, throughout the lap. What can you do to combat that? Is there anything that you can do in the early 2 sectors or in terms of setup that you can kind of do to try and alleviate that pain through the final part of the lap?
To be honest, there's nothing you can do in sectors 1 and 2. The only trick that I know is quite literally just lower the tyre temps, and hope to God that, and then make sure your toes in the right place, etc. And hope to God that keeps the tyre temps down. Through sector 1, that's where you normally cool your tyres down. We do isn't many corners. As you hit sector 2, that's where the tyre temps start going back up. So it's a bit of a weird track where you've only got one sector to cool your tyres down before you hit the painful sectors again. Whereas in most other tracks, you've normally got 2 sectors or 2.5 sectors to cool your tyres down again.
Well, Willy Bum seems like he might have managed to control the temps there through the final sector. It looked very clean to me. Wasn't massively fast, but it's enough to get him through, we think, into Q2 with a 1:38.3 and with 2 minutes 50 left on the clock. TJ, at the moment, who's your drivers at risk? We've got FPR Locker down in 13th at the moment. Surely needs to improve on that time. And we've currently got TS9 and Soprano Legend, who haven't really put representative times on the board at the moment. So what do we think in terms of the time to get through into Q2?
I think anyone down from Hobnob downwards, to be honest, is in. I'd probably say David Lawface. Anyone downwards is probably in a bit of a tricky situation there. I'm not quite sure what's happened though, but FPL Locker has lost his time.
Well, I've had a word with the stewards, TJ. And his time's been deleted for track limits, would you believe it or not? I have no idea what's happened. No idea what's happened there. He did have a time that was 13th fastest, but it's been taken away from him. I don't know if it's been taken away on his screen. He's currently invalidated this lap as well. He will get round for another. Whether he needs to set the time or not, we don't know. Don't know what's happened there. But at the minute, Skivvid is showing us P15 on the timing charts. As he looks to continue on this lap now. Doesn't look like he's going particularly quickly either. So he may or may not be out. We don't know what the timing screens are going to do to us at this point. Soprano Legend also isn't going to get another time in, I don't think. Coming around sector 1 now. I think there's only a minute left, so he will not get another time on the board. TS9, FPR TS9, currently coming through turns 8 and 9. Will he make it back round? How long's left? 50 seconds. So it's going to be very close, I think, maybe. FPR Locker up to. Ooh, he's got to avoid an Alpine that's gone round on the start-finish straight once again. Not the first driver we've seen do that this evening already in the opening part of qualifying. And it does look like FPR Locker is going to try and get a lap in. We don't actually know his position, unfortunately, because of the timing screens. But let's see if he can improve on the 13th place we think he's got. Here then, down straight now into the end of sector 1 at 26.9. Not a bad time there for him to set. You have to avoid invalidation there wide on the right hand side. It's one of the few places you can invalidate on this lap without running into a wall. As the checker flag waves then, and we know then that, well, it's pretty hard to say who's through at this point because don't know if Locker needs to set this lap, but let's carry on round and hope he puts a time on the board anyway. At the minute, it's a 1:39.5 that he's got to beat, and Skivvid's currently put in P15. Looks like Mongo, Nedir, and Hobnob are all through then. At the moment, they were the drivers on the cusp as well. Snedden's time of a 36.1. Yeah, I mean, making it a little bit of a no contest, unfortunately, at this point, but hopefully the drivers behind can find some miracle to get close to that lap as we go under the bridge then, under the grandstand. With Locker through the final sector. Let's see what he's managed to do with the tyre temperatures right in the curbs, very generously there, avoiding the wall on the outside, coming through the final corner now, then a big turn in, avoiding the invalidation, crosses the line, and it's a 1:38.0 then, which does put Skivvid then back down to 16th. Weren't sure if he was there anyway, but it doesn't matter nonetheless because he is definitely now out in the early part of qualifying then. So we lose 3 drivers as Soprano Legend couldn't quite get the lap together, nor could TS9, unfortunately, falling foul to the unique challenge that this circuit is, and Skivvid as well with his time dropping out in the early part of qualifying.
Yeah, it's an absolute shame for Soprano Legend and TS9. We've seen their true pace recently in regards to Q1, especially the times they've set. I think they'll both be very upset with that. Hopefully they've got better race pace. One thing we haven't really touched on yet is that Singapore itself, it's not really an overtaking track. So opportunities don't really come around unless you're in the DRS zone.
And there we have it. There is the classification then for Q1. We've already spoke about it in the session. Snedden's time of a 1:36.1 looking pretty much unbeatable at this stage based on the times that we've seen. We might have a shootout for P2, but you never know what can happen in the later parts of qualifying. It's Nigel Pickle and Magsy 2 and 3. Tadas on his return, P4 for Alfa Romeo as they look to get a leg up in the Constructors' title as well. And TJ, it's always a good point between sessions to go to our beloved, of course, Twitch chat. And there's 33 beautiful people watching along with us for this entertaining race. Silverside Boy saying, evening boys. Evening boy, we'll say. Silverside Boy. I'm Not Good has been for an emergency poo. Well, it didn't put him off in getting through to Q2, so he's done well to get back from that. I know it takes me at least 18 minutes to push him up. he's got back in time there to get himself through. Lola Lulu, welcome back to the stream, cheering on Locker. Good evening to you, darling. Hope you're well. Something about kicking a ball against the wall. Can't remember what else was said. Something else along those lines. David Lawface says, oi oi. Oi oi, David Lawface. Nice to see you in Q2. Ali Ferrari racing in Tier 1 tomorrow says, watch me bottle tomorrow's race. Well, wouldn't be the biggest surprise after some of the races you've had recently. Cruiser says, where TF did that come from? I think that was in response to Snedden's lap time. Leon Brusby, Soprano legend, not holding back, just rubbish. My 2:04 is my true pace. Oh, I doubt that. We know Soprano legend's got a bit of pace in that Aston Martin. I'm sure he'll have a go at getting back through the field in the race. And LWS Yorkie, comeback, and Snedden is a second clear of second place. Well, yeah, that is a shame. Well, you know. Let's hope we can have a fight for a pole position anyway. And unfortunately, it's interesting to point out Adrian isn't here tonight to challenge Snedden. Those two trading really the front row in qualifying. He's not here anymore. TJ, is he still full-time driver? I can't remember this.
Yeah, he's still a full-time driver, unfortunately. Some pesky exams, some pesky exams stopping him from racing that aren't important. But he's prioritising them over us.
Well, who cares about exams?
Exactly.
I gave up on those a long time ago. Probably try and get back into them at some point. As we can see the tyre selection then for the field at the moment, it's always obviously a good point in the opening part of Q2 to talk about strategy for the race. As we can see, a lot of the drivers then choosing the medium tyres. I know, speaking to a few of the drivers in the field, they said that they thought the best strategy was going to be a medium to a hard, or a hard to medium. Some people might do outside the top 10 to try and take advantage of the inevitable safety cars. TJ, is that kind of the vibe that you're getting as well, or do you think we'll see some people start on the softs? I know I can see some drivers out there on softs, but will they complete those laps?
I don't think they will. I think that's got to be a mistake. The definite strategy is the mediums. I think this is the only time in Q2 across all races this week, to be honest, where drivers will be wanting to start on the mediums, not softs. So I think we'll see him do a couple push laps, and perhaps we won't see much action after that. Tyre wear is really low on these, so potentially they could come back out again and set another push lap. It just depends how much tyre life you want to take out and how much you want to get the top 10, I suppose.
Yep, drivers like Mongo and T-Jerk and Al Gord currently have selected the soft tyres, but two of those still in the pits at the moment. Mongo is the only driver actively out on the circuit on a set of soft tyres. Maybe he feels like he needs to use those to get through to the top 10, and of course track position around Singapore not quite as necessary as a track like Monaco, of course, but the overtaking opportunity is still a little bit limited in terms of what you can do. With only a couple of corners really you can make a move on a driver, as David Lowface is going to come across the line on this set of medium tyres and not put a time in, unfortunately, as he runs wide and invalidates a 1:39.7, but that might not have been a good enough time anyway. Neda with a 38.8, good time from him. Magsy with a 38.2 now as well to go provisionally P1 in the session. We've got Diamond now navigating the final sector as well, closely followed by a Red Bull behind him. Not sure if it's Mongo or Hobnob just yet. We'll ride on board then with Diamond, as he looks like he's also running wide. Driver struggling on these medium tyres to get through that final corner. It's still a 38.6 from him though to put him into P2, and it was Hobnob closely following him, and he goes P4 with a 39.0 then.
Yeah, fantastic lap. I've just seen how much goods left the session, so I'm just getting him back in quickly. I have, before I was inviting Matt McGullin, I am seeing that the championship leader Nedden is on an outlap, same as Nigel Piggle. He's currently on an outlap as well. The fast Red Bull behind him, maybe hasn't just blocked whoever that was. Mongo, I don't think he blocked him, but potentially was. Might have been some blocking, but we'll see if there's anything comes to the stewards on that one. Might as well ride on board and Mongo for this last sector. As Willy Bum has retired on the pit straight.
Yeah, it looks like he's dropped it then, coming through that final corner. We've seen that from the number of drivers today already. And now he's fallen victim to it. He's lying actually right in the middle of the track. Mongo does well to avoid him. It's a 38.4 from him to go 2/10 off P1 at the moment then. But what a shame for Willy Bum. We're seeing this recently from Willy Bum. He does seem to be struggling a little bit under pressure, especially in qualifying recently. And yeah, it looks like once again he's going to start now no higher than P10, depending on what the drivers around him can do.
Yeah, an absolute shame. It's not what the Williams team want right now, to be honest, especially McLaren's so close behind him in the constructors. You know, and especially on a track like this where overtake opportunities are also limited. You know, Willy Bum has got the pace, so you can probably make places up, but you know, for a drive, it's disheartening to be not getting through to Q3 and starting outside the top 10 on a weekly basis, especially for something that you can perhaps control.
Yep, and of course he won't get free choice of tyre if he is P10, because obviously the top 10 will start on the same tyres that they did in Q2, but that doesn't matter anyway, because his time is on the mediums, which we think is the preferred option, as Balente now goes fastest at 37.9, carrying on that trend then from Q1 of just being ahead of Magsy in terms of pace. Snedden now coming around the final corner. Can he avoid doing what Willy Bum did just moments ago? And he does indeed, and crosses the line at 36.5. This is laughable now. This is ridiculous. He's 1.4 seconds ahead of P2. CJ, I'm going to make a bet right now. It's not just Pippa crosses line 37.8. I can't imagine we'll be hearing the words Snedden and Tier 3 again next season, just by some chance. Snedden and Tier 1 maybe. Snedden and Tier 3. I don't think we'll be hearing that one next season. He's currently 1.3 seconds clear of Nigel Piggle now in P2 on those medium tyres then. Who have we got out on track on our lap? We've got Snedden's teammate, Tadas, coming through the final sector now. Under the bridge in the grandstand, through the final sector. Can he get anywhere near his teammate? I doubt it. I don't think anyone can get near his teammate tonight, but you never know what can happen, of course. Tadas now coming around the final corner. Can he get into P2 at the very least? He can indeed. P2 with a 37.6 then. Still over a second off his teammate, but it is currently Alfa Romeo 1 and 2 in the second part of qualifying.
Yeah, fantastic from Tadas there, and that's exactly what we're saying in Q1, that we know he's got the pace, and if he can keep that up and help his teammates out, you know, keep Nigel Piggle, Balente, Magsy all behind him during the race. Obviously, it still doesn't mean Snedden can wrap the title up tonight, but it certainly helps him out to potentially wrap it up next week.
Yep, of course he will still want to take maximum points from this one to give him the best chance of wrapping it up early. Anything can happen, of course, as we know. I think it would take a miracle now for someone else to snatch it away from Snedden, but anything can indeed happen until it is mathematically wrapped up. As we're riding on board then with FPRL Locker, coming through Sector 2 now. Down the second of the DRS straights on this circuit. Doing well at the moment, 105.1 through Sector 2, looking to keep it clean. I know you can't run very wide there because for some reason it counts as invalidation. Don't know how that became a corner, but Who knows? Avoiding validation and the wall there indeed. Now about to come under the bridge as well through this dreaded final sector. Can he keep those rear temperatures down? That is the challenge of all the drivers today. Mounting the curve very generously once again and coming around the final corner. Looking to avoid what so many drivers have done. He has done that and puts that McLaren into P6 then. 38.4. Not a bad time from him there, TJ. I'm just thinking now in terms of cut-off. There's still some fast drivers behind which might look to go quicker. Neder, interesting enough, has come in, gone from the mediums to the softs now, looking to put a push lap in. Do you think that time there, would you say from Maxi in the pits has just selected the soft tyre, do you think from Maxi down is safe at this point?
No, I don't think they are. I think they are all at risk. Especially them guys that are putting the softs on now. That's an interesting move at this point. Perhaps they don't realise how bad the softs are around here. But the medium tyre is definitely tired to start on, so the guys are taking a risk.
They are indeed, but of course they are looking to get that favourable strategy for the race. Neder getting very leery there for the second part of the track. Then on those soft tyres, as we've mentioned, quite a few of the drivers now at least provisionally choosing the softs, and Neder once again getting out of sorts then. Under the tunnel. I'm surprised we've not seen drivers clip the wall there. Has done well to keep it out of the wall so far. Oh, and just as I say that, there we go, into the wall. No front wing and straight into the pits then from Neder. It is 3 minutes and 45 left on the clock. He's going to be leaving it very close to get back round again if that is the plan then. As we're watching FPR Locker also into the pits. 3.5 minutes, as I mentioned, now left on the clock. It'll be interesting to see if he can get back in and out for another lap. Not a lot of drivers out there at the moment. 4 cars out on track on an out lap, but more joining them at the moment. The drivers currently at risk of being knocked out in the second part of qualifying. Hobnob, David Lowface, T-Jerk, El Gord, and I'm Not Good. And El Gord, you would not expect this from him. There's definitely a lap in that Alpine to get through to the third part of qualifying. It's just whether he can find it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, still sitting in the pits with 2 minutes 55 on the clock. He's just applying unneeded pressure to himself at this point. Perhaps he's had a bit of troubles if his lap is on previously, or maybe he's not even there. Maybe he's gone for a walk.
Maybe he's gone for a poo. Who knows? Seems like that's a theme tonight.
But it'd be a shame to definitely lose that Al Gord in Q2. Same as I'm Not Good as well. I know he's had the connection issues and he's currently out on an outlet, but Al Gord and I'm Not Good, you sort of expect to see them in Q1 now. It's like Q3 nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm Not Good, as you mentioned, has had those connectivity issues, but even still, he's come back out on the mediums. All those ahead of him now on the soft tyres, apart from Diamond in P8, he's still on the mediums. So he's got to put a very good lap in here, or hope that some of the drivers get it wrong in order to get through to the next part of qualifying. FPR Locker, as I mentioned, it was going to be tight for him to get back round for another lap. Choosing to retire in the pits then will look to try and get through on the lap that he set on those mediums earlier on. There's a lovely tyre on the pit straight for us there. All the drivers are avoiding that. As Hobnob then now looking to start his flying lap. P11 at the moment, but very close to the Alpine just in front of him of T-Jerk. I'm Not Good does indeed put a time on the board. It is a 38.5 from the McLaren. So he's provisionally through to the third part of qualifying, but the gap is very tight at the moment. Only through by about a 10th as it stands. Interesting enough, TJ, Willybum's time is now only enough for P9 on the scoreboard, really. But he is, of course, going to start no higher than 10th. He might start even lower than that now, as Neder is 11th. And we've had improvements from a driver as well. I think it's Diamond as well that's improved there on those medium tyres. So a good lap from him at 38.2. So is I'm not good through that time? I mean, what's going on behind him?
He is pushing still, so I'm riding on board if I'm not good. He is coming through sector 2 currently. But he is going to know his fate beforehand. As you know, you got David Dollface, Hobnob, and TJ all really close to one another. David Dollface is coming around the final set of corners now, keeps it very nice, takes a very generous amount of curb there. Coming to his final corner, hopefully keeps it nice and clean. Runs a bit wide. He's definitely he's invalidated it.
He's invalidated this and the next lap as well, unfortunately, with that times coming through thick and fast. Hobnob then through to the third part of qualifying in P6. Mongo as well put a time in to go fourth fastest with a 37.8. So he'll be through as well now. David Lawface, we know, is out. El Gord never got out of the pits. Neder has also invalidated his time. So it's down to this man at the moment. OMT T-Jerk coming through sector 1 now. 27.2. He's 3/10 down on his time. It's not going to be quick enough based on that. He needs to find a lot of time throughout the rest of this lap in order to make it through. He's on the soft tyres now as well. William will start P11 now, actually. He won't start in the top 10. So even more pain for the Williams that crashed out early on, but it is a shootout now between T-Jerk and I'm Not Good as to who will make it through to the third part of qualifying.
Yeah, definitely. We'll know what T-Jerk will do in a minute as he comes across the sector 2 line, and he's made time up, so he's almost 2 temps off. It's just about enough as long as you keep it clean for a sector, so this will be very close for I'm Not Good. As T-Jerk's game now is just, and he's validated it.
Got a bit too close to the wall, pushing, perhaps trying to make up the time he lost in Sector 1. It seemed like he made it up in Sector 2, but pushing a little bit too hard. And T-Jerk, a valiant effort, but will be out of the second part of qualifying, to the relief of I'm Not Good, who only put in that one time on those medium tyres. So a great effort from the McLaren team to get both of those cars through. And despite the issues that I think both drivers faced really in that session, as Hobnob is going to trickle into the pit lane, and we wait on David Lowface, who we saw unfortunately invalidate through that final corner. He's had a mare there as well on his invalidated run as he's come through the final corner. He's doing donuts for us now and driving the wrong way on the circuit. This is going well.
So while we wait for David, interestingly, I'm not sure why he's done it, Valente has decided to take his fastest up on a set of softs. Same as Mongo and Hobnob. My gut feeling is they've made an absolute mistake at this point, and that is going to really hamper their race, because they're pretty much committing to either a two-stopper or getting onto softs hards at this point.
Well, only time will tell with that. Of course, the strategy can be very much dictated by safety cars in this race, as we know. But there is your classification then for Q2. It was Snedden who was fastest once again, perhaps not having the advantage he enjoyed in Q1, though. Nigel Piggle on the similar tyres, only half a second back this time. Valente sandwiching those times, but on the soft tyres, as we mentioned. And in Q2, we lose then Willy Bum, T-Jerk, Neder, David Lowface, El Gord, who were convinced has either gone for a walk or a poo, and didn't get out on track and put a time on the board then. Well, at least when David goes out in Q2, he has time to put a pole for pole up for us.
This is very true. We did miss the pole for pole last week as he made it to Q3, so the return for pole is going to be very grateful. Although, I think at this point, I think there is only one guy that is on for pole, and he's shown it through every quality session so far, and that's Snedden. I mean, he's been a second and a half ahead of everyone else. It's going to take something magical from someone to close that gap.
Well, TJ, that really surprised me. I really thought you were going to say that I'm Not Good. He's going to steal pole position away from Snedden there. He'll love that comment. But no, can't disagree with you really. and we'll see if everyone else agrees. I imagine they will do in the chat. Now the poll for poll is live. If everyone would like to take part and choose the non-obvious candidates, every option is Snedden. Oh god. Well, I hope it's someone other than Snedden now. Interesting enough, most people are only voting for the top Snedden. At the moment, then. It is Snedden's teammate who's out on track first of all the drivers, who will be the first driver to put a time on the board then on the outlaps. TJ will go for a top 3, considering we think we know who's going to be on pole. But P2 and P3, who do you think we're going to get, and who do you think we're going to see there? And go on, in what order?
I think it's going to be really close. We've seen it close between 3 or 4 drivers for P2 and P3, but if I had to put any names down at this point, I think Nigel Piggle will get P2, and I'm going to say Magsy P3. I think
Magsy has shown improved qualifying performance recently, and he's shown tonight that he's got a little bit of pace around this. That's not a bad choice on you there, TJ.
The only one I'd put P3 is probably Valente, but I'm not quite sure whether he's got the pace to be there. But I think he'll certainly be very close behind.
Well, in about 10 minutes' time, we'll know whether your predictions are correct, as Tadas has started his first flying lap. It's a 27 flat through Sector 1. It is representative. It's not the fastest we've seen, but it is more towards the front of the grid. But it looks like he's being a little bit cautious here on this opening run. Perhaps wants a banker on the board. I've just seen in the chat there is a new pole for pole. It's the real one, apparently. More options than just Snedden. I don't know why we've done this one, because unless Snedden wins, I don't see a way that anyone else gets onto pole today. Here comes Tallison. Through Sector 2 now. He's kept it clean so far, and clean sometimes means quick. Sometimes safe, and perhaps he's going to do a push later on. I imagine the drivers will only get 2 fast runs in. Look, the inside curb there now coming under the grandstand. Bridge there through the final sector. Looking to keep it clean once again. And can he avoid doing a David Lowface, we'll call it now, through the final corner on the soft tyres. Gets off the throttle quite heavily there through the final corner. Crosses the line. It is a 37.5 from him. I'm pretty much certain we'll see that beaten by one, if not a handful of drivers. And there is Nigel Piggle at 36.4. A good lap from him. Perhaps he's got a bit more confidence in the car now.
Yeah, definitely. That's he's definitely made a few sandbags there. But that's fantastic from Nigel. Mags is at 37.1 and Valente 37.3. As Hobb next driver of the line's Diamonds. Snedden's validated his lap he's on currently. So we won't see a time for a championship leader. And then after that there's the 2 Red Bulls of Hobnob leading them.
It'll be interesting to see if Snedden goes round again. Now he comes into the pits. He has continued on then, so we'll look for a second push lap on that same set of tyres. He probably has the time advantage to do so, but perhaps a little bit of pressure there then, as you mentioned, from the championship leader. Struggling on his opening run. We've seen Hobnob now through the final corner, crosses the line to 38.5 from him to go P6, just ahead of I'm Not Good. And I was just going to go back as we watch Mongo over the line at 38.6 to match his teammate near enough and go P7. I saw over the line there was a little bit of handbags between the McLaren drivers. I don't know what happened. I think I'm Not Good was setting his lap, and Locker was very close to him. And there was a bit of contact between the 2 McLarens there. I'm just wondering if that will go into the stewards after the session.
Oh no. I mean, that's a shame from the McLaren boys. Hopefully they sort it out. Hopefully it was just a misunderstanding from them both, and they kiss and make up for the race.
It's not really best practice to try and penalise your teammate if you're in a position. If you're fighting for P2 in the championship, I'm not too sure what good putting a clip in against him will do. Snedden's done a little bit more of a well, he's in a much more of a clean lap this time, avoiding invalidations so far, and it has been quick as well through the sector times. Looking a sure bet to go close to Piggle's time, if not beat it. At the moment, it's a good time though from Nigel Piggle at the moment. And Snedding, sliding out of that penultimate corner, coming around the final corner now. Will he slide through this one as well? He has managed to keep it straight and does just about beat Nigel Piggle's time. Not the advantage we expected though. Only a tenth and a half over the Haas driver at the moment. Of course, on 2-lap-old tyres, however, and on a second run, I imagine he will improve on his final lap. But a good time from Nigel Piggle then. Pretty much certain for P2 at least, surely.
Yeah, definitely. It's fantastic pace from Nigel. It's what we've expected from past couple of races as well, so I'm glad to see that he is closing that gap and we're not just going to have Sneddon running away in the race. However, from last week, there's a bit of rivalry between these two drivers, so hopefully they won't see handbags between them if they do start 1 and 2, but if they do, hopefully they keep it nice and clean and give each other the respect they have done all season.
Well, you say give respect, but for those that weren't aware of the stewards report last week, Nigel Piggle picked himself up a penalty for shutting the door, and Sneddon will say, in the steward's eyes anyway, and Sneddon retiring from the inevitable win in that race. But I'm not good. Looks like he's going to try and get a time on the board after his mishap with his teammate on the previous lap. Will it be enough to get him out of 9th place? And it is. It's enough for 7th place at the moment at 37.7 from him as his teammate ducks into the pit lane and will look to put another set of tyres on then. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. And Sneddon will surely be into the pits now. No?
Oh,
yeah. Very late on. Very late on. I'm not too sure if you're allowed to drive to that side of the bollard, but we'll. Not sure if there's anything in our rule book about that. It's frowned upon.
Yeah.
Frowned upon that.
Oh, and Nigel Piggle has already picked up the track and says it's getting reported. And the civil war has started between the two gentlemen. As drivers are putting their fresh set of softs on now and looking to come back out on track, Magsy is the first driver that will be back on his fast lap as he's just about to start his lap, which is now. Fantastic lap from his first one, but hopefully he can improve out his second. And keeps it very nice and takes a bit of curve through the first couple of turns. Once again, as we keep mentioning, Sector 1's probably the easiest sector out of Singapore, but it's all about making sure your tyres stay nice and cool. Keeps it at the wall, DRS wide open. Next, a bit of a cheeky slipstream from Diamond there in the process. And he's a 10th down, unfortunately, in Sector 1, but it's not all over yet. If he's messed up in Sector 2 and 3 at some point, he's still got plenty of time to make back. But the aim of the game now is to keep them tyres as cool as you can get them. As well as trying to improve his time as he comes into the next sector. Keeps it very nice and clean so far. Looks like he's backed out to me.
Yeah, I think he's backed out to save it for another lap. Maybe he's got to be careful he doesn't get in the way of drivers which are on a lap. The next one behind him is Tadas on a fast lap at the moment. He's kind of out of sync now though. He went very early for this opening run and yet has now backed out, looking to perhaps save the tyres for a second run on that set then. Here's Tadas now coming to the end of Sector 2 and he's half a second up on his times. This is enough for P3 at the moment if he can match a decent final sector here. Yellow flags out all around him at the moment though and he's invalidated. Oh dear, under the pressure there of the improved time as invalidated. He will get time to go again though. He can do what Max has done and get another lap in on those tyres then.
Yeah, definitely. The concern here is his ERS, but I think he's got enough ERS to get himself on the track. As you mentioned, yeah, he's about to start his next lap as Valenti rejoins after unfortunately disconnecting. And that does unfortunately mean that Valenti can't come out and set a faster lap.
Yeah, Valente then will start no higher than P4, depending on what those drivers behind can do. Unfortunately, the connection issues proving a little bit too much for him and the rest of his qualifying session. Hopefully we don't have many of those in the race itself. Then it's Mongo now on a hot lap in P9 at the moment, looking to improve on that 38.6 he set on his first run. Surely got more time in the bank on this run. And Sneddon now starting his final flying lap as well. Nigel Piggle is just up the road ahead of him, so we'll put the time on the board first. Mongo then just short of a second quicker of his time at the moment. Is it going to be enough to perhaps move himself up onto the third row? Or will it just be enough to perhaps pip his teammate in the session so far? Coming through the final sector now under the bridge, looking to keep it calm through the final sector and avoid invalidating like we've seen from a couple of drivers tonight, and has managed to do so. Keeps it out of the wall on the outside there, running out of ERS before the line, not managing it perhaps as some of the other drivers have been. Over the line, it's 37.4 from him. Big improvement in sector 3. It's enough at P5 at the moment, as Diamond then goes P4 to knock Mongo down into P6. We're on board with Tadas now as he looks to come over the line. Has it been a better lap this time around?
Oh, Nigel
Bender!
Bender!
P3. Nigel Piggle, if we can get it on board. There he is in the wall. Oh, and Sneddon just avoiding him. Or has he? Don't think he has. I think that's Sneddon's run out then. He has invalidated as well. So it's just FPRL Locker who is also invalidated. So that is that in terms of qualifying. Nigel Piggle then bringing an end to proceedings a little bit prematurely, putting it in the wall at the end of the DRS straight and into turn 13. And yeah, Nigel Piggle then, I don't know if he was on a faster lap. TJ, was you watching the times? Would he have been close to challenging Sneddon for that pole position?
Unfortunately, he invalidated his lap, so I'm not quite sure how he managed to bend it, because he invalidated it way before the pointy crashed it. As Sneddon has been doing a few burnouts to the line, and I think he was prepared to do a donut but decided against it. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how Nigel bent it, because then he invalidated it a few corners beforehand.
Oh. He will start P2 alongside the man he crashed into last week in Australia, Sneddon, who has got pole position. Hotly tipped as the favourite, especially considering the opening two sessions of this qualifying, and he does indeed then take pole position once again. It's what he needs to do. He needs to get the win, needs to get that fastest lap. He wants to wrap up this championship as early as possible, and he's doing everything he can do at the moment to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, pole position on Singapore isn't disastrous. I mean, pole position any track isn't disastrous, but pole position on Singapore, you're in a fantastic place with limited overtaking. And the pace is shown, you know, he is going to pull away, perhaps pull Nigel in originally. But I do think Sneddon has the better tyre management over Sorry, I do believe Sneddon has the better tyre management over Nigel.
Yeah, that can be crucial, of course, depending on the instance in the race. But it is an Alfa Romeo 1-3. It's a Nigel Piggle, the filling, in an Alfa Romeo sandwich. Tadas gets P3 against TJ's prediction of it being Manzi, who could only manage P4 today, despite perhaps having the pace to get into the top 3. Diamond P5, good lap from him. Valente with those connection issues will start P6. Mongo P7. I'm not good P8. And I couldn't remember P9 and 10 before it disappeared. I've got one foot out the door here because I'm concerned that people are going to ready up. I need to go and I need to go to the men's room, I'll call it. Yeah, so I'm going to leave you in the company of TJ once again. Do this every week to you, TJ, so keep the boys and girls entertained. I'll be back shortly.
Yep, no worries. Yeah, so the drivers are currently setting the strategies. Guys on the mediums have probably got the best strategy at the moment. Guys on softs in the top 10 probably got the harder task at this point. They are probably commit themselves to a two-stop strategy or going from softs to hards and taking them through to the end. Outside the top 10, You're probably looking at mediums as well. I can't see anyone starting on softs. Perhaps someone of this can do the ultimate strategy of hards and then go to mediums afterwards. Um, but it's all to play for certain. It's going to be close up and down the field, I think. I don't want to curse anyone, but I do think we'll see a safety car. On one or two of them. Hopefully, it doesn't interrupt the race too much. Hopefully, Soprano Legend at the back of the grid can get a fantastic start here and make a few places up and show us his true pace that we've seen over the past couple of races. And hopefully the drivers keep it clean through turn one. Obviously the two gents at the front of the grid. Hopefully they keep it nice and clean, and they don't take each other out. The last thing we need is a Snedden and Nigel pile up at turn one. Hopefully they respect each other, and whatever they happened last week, they've kissed and made up, made a gentleman's agreement to keep it nice and clean.
Hello, hello.
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi, Savaloi. Back on the mic, ready for a nice race around Singapore. Should we have a prediction, TJ? Should we guess how many safety cars are going to be? Should we have a wager on it?
Oh, a wager. I like a wager.
A wager.
Oh.
What should we wager?
What's
going to be the bet?
Second round meet up Saturday.
Second round. Oh yeah. I've already got to buy it first. I'm going to buy it in a second.
Nah, I don't know. A fiver.
I tell you what, the wager is three shots in spoons.
Oh god, I'll take that up then. So
the loser has to buy it,
and
then drink all three in a row.
Oh, okay, I'm down for that then. So I think there'll be 2 safety cars.
2.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good bet. That's a good shout. Why did you get to pick first? Can't I pick?
You weren't quick enough, mate.
Okay. 2. I don't think there'll be 1. I think there'll be 2, but I'll go for 3.
Oh.
Or can I get specific and say 2 safety cars and a VSC?
Go on, we'll take that. We'll take that. Yeah, go on.
No. We'll just stick to safety. Well, I'll go with 3. I think it's gonna be a dry race, unfortunately. So I think I'm in trouble. I think I'm in trouble with this one. But there's only one way to find out. As Snedden leaves the field away, then on the formation lap. And it's probably a good time to bring up the tyres. The drivers outside the top 10 have gone for. If I can find the button, there we go. 2 drivers on the hard tyres, Nedir and TS9 both choosing to go hard. 2 mediums then in the race. Soprano Legend starting P18 on the medium tyres. And the rest of the field also going with mediums apart from Hobnob, Mongo and Belente. 6, 7 and 9 of course making it through to Q3 and having the pain of starting on the soft tyres.
Yeah, I was saying that the gents on soft, so Hobnob, Mongo and Belente, they've got a mammoth task in their hands. They have picked the wrong strategy, I think. They are committing themselves to a 2-stop strategy or to softs to hards. Don't get soft to mediums to work unless there is a couple of safety cars really early on. But they've got to hope for a miracle at this point to really get something out of this race, I think.
Yep, of course. A miracle. If there is a track where a miracle could come for those drivers, it's very much this track. So, could have 3 safety cars here. Let's hope we have 3 safety cars. Imagine if we're getting none now. Like, we've picked it up all night. You're always guaranteed a safety car at this track. We get none. No safety cars.
So, interestingly, Snedden, I'm not sure if this is the game playing tricks, but it looks like Snedden's underfueled and anticipating a safety car.
He has. He has. Has anyone else done it? Quick flick through the field. No. Just Snedden. You don't want to do that, mate. Trust me. You've made a big mistake there.
There'll be a lot of left and coasting for Alpha driver from about lap 10.
Yeah. It's only a couple of times this season I've made that mistake. We have to try and get the gap up so we can lift and coast. As the drivers then pull into their grid positions. 18 beautiful 2021 Formula 1 cars. Line up on the grid. Soprano Legend brings up the rear of the field then. Snedden's medium tyres going beautifully cold. Down into turn 1. And we are ready then for 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go then. Nigel Pickle looks like he's got a good start off the line. Perhaps Snedden was waiting there a little bit too long, but he has, in the second phase of the start, got ahead of the Haas driver and covers him off into turn 1. It's actually Tanas who's on the rear then of Nigel Pickle. Yellow flags out. It's Haas that's around. It's Neder who starts on those hard tyres up in 13th round at turn 1. He's got a long way to come back now. Other than that, relatively clean then through the opening 4 corners here. Not as much contact as we might have expected to see, and it is still Snedden leading from Nigel Pickle, leads Tadas.
Yeah, Mongo had a bit of a disastrous start. He's dropped 3 places. FPRL Locker's made up 3 places. Soprano Legend starting back again. Currently P14. He's made up 4, so he's had a fantastic start. But yeah, pretty clean through the first part of lap 1.
Yep, good start for Soprano Legend. We knew he had pace in that car. Perhaps he just needs to get settled into the race and he can pick up some points today. We're riding with Magsy at the moment, using a bit of that ERS to stay ahead of the Ferrari that is behind him in Bolente. We think Bolente has got a little bit more pace in that Ferrari than Magsy has in the Williams, but didn't quite manage to do it in qualifying. Whether that was just the connection issues, who knows. But of course, Bolente on the soft tyres and TJ, so has to clear Williams here to make that strategy work.
Yeah, definitely. He can't afford to be held up. He needs to get it done on this next lap, ideally, before DRS does activate. He doesn't need massive DRS in front of him as well, so it's really crucial at this point that Bolente does get this move done as soon as possible.
Yes, indeed. And he has dropped off a little bit from the back of Magsy. TJ, what lap are we going to see those soft tyres start to fade away in comparison to the mediums? We know the mediums and the hard is the preferred strategy, so how many laps do you think you can get out of those soft tyres?
I think you can only get maybe 5-6 laps on the softs. I think for the mediums you can probably get 10 to 15 and put the hards on to the end. But yeah, I expect by about lap 6-7 the softs are going to be really dead, and the guys are going to want to come in and put a set hards on.
An early safety car might just say Bolente's strategy for him, but as it stands, the field driving very cleanly. No one even in for a front wing change, which is absolutely unbelievable on the opening race in Singapore. Perhaps me and TJ both got it wrong. We won't even see a single safety car. Obviously, I say that touching every bit of wood in my office, because I can guarantee there will be a safety car later on. We're watching the McLaren battle at the moment for 7th and 8th. Hobnob looking to get involved in that. We saw a few handbags between these two in qualifying. Interesting to see here if I'm Not Good is going to make a move up the inside of Locker and perhaps force his way through after that. I think he was a bit apologetic almost after that incident in qualifying, and Locker has made up 3 places off the start to get ahead then of his teammate now, and I'm wondering if he is holding him up at the moment. But Diamond looks to be the driver at the head of this train, TJ. 2 seconds off the back of Bolente after lap 2.
Yeah, that could be the soft tyres and Bolente that's pulling ahead. They have got a massive difference. As Magsy's just had a moment and spun off the front wing. VSC is out.
You have a VSC then. Magsy, who was running up in P4. No luck recently, has he? In races. Last week in Australia, he had an incident there. I don't know how he recovered to get some good points. Oh no, he had an incident on the last lap. Didn't he? Oh, great. As FPR Locker leaves the session, we'll get him back into the race. Sadly for Magsy, it is just a virtual safety car, so he won't get the opportunity then to change that front wing under full safety car, which means he is now technically plumb last then after his good performance in qualifying.
Yeah, it's a shame for him driving at us. I think he just had the rears a little bit too hot to hit curb on the last corner. And just did what we saw what they were doing in qualifying, where he just spun and hit the pit wall, unfortunately. The only thing that could be an issue here is that depending when the VSC comes in, if Mags is in the wrong place, he's going to hold up the guys behind him, and it won't be on purpose, it'll be unintentional, but it depends if VSC comes in.
Yeah, he has managed to keep... Oh, he's hit the inside wall there. With that front wing damage, perhaps just putting him off slightly there. He has managed to carry on in 9th place. I don't know if he has to give the place back here to Hobnob. He does. Oh, it's a couple of drivers as well. Virtual safety car is in before the end of the lap. Oh dear, his race has just gone from bad to worse there. And Magsy, who was in the fight for a podium today, looks very much out of it now until later safety car. He's doing his best to get out the way here, but there's just cars piling past him now. It's Singapore. There's nowhere to really get out the way of drivers. As he looks got in the way of El Gord now coming through the final sector, and he will be in for a new front wing. And it'll be interesting to see if he puts the hard tyres on. Tries to run till the end now, potentially with around 5 laps left. Ticker there, but it is still Sneddon who leads out in front at the moment. Nigel Piggle P2, he has dropped back slightly now following that virtual safety car, as Tadas has dropped back from Nigel Piggle, as Valente has dropped back from Tadas then, so the fight for the podium is a little bit spread out now. Nigel Piggle needs a good result here, he needs to pick up some good points today. I know he's not exactly in the championship hunt anymore, but he still can get involved in this fight for P2, of course, in the championship. And after his penalty last week, I imagine he just wants an instant-free race this week, TJ.
Yeah, definitely. I have just noticed an issue with Al Gore, and it might explain why we didn't see him in Q2. He isn't in the game, and I didn't see him leave, and he hasn't requested an invite back. So I've just invited him to see what happens here, but it explains why we didn't see an Al Gore in Q2, as he literally was away from his car.
Yeah. So let's get him back in if we can. Hope he's not giving up. As Nigel Piggle 4 seconds back now off Sneddon in Q2. Tadas can't quite get close to the back of the Haas driver at the moment, so Sneddon is indeed pulling out at a vast rate of knots at the moment, and there doesn't seem to be any challenge at this stage then for Sneddon as it stands. Of course, anything can happen later on in the race. We are only on lap 5 at the moment. The field is starting to spread out slightly. There is fights going on back through the field though for points here. Soprano Legend now on the back of Willie Bum, who currently occupies 10th place. Looks like he's not being put off too much by that incident in qualifying, and he is still in the hunt for some good points here. It's another driver that had a great start as well, up into P9. As there goes Soprano Legend, up the tune, up the inside, off Willie Bum there. Leon Brosby, he loves it. He loves a good overtake. I know he can hear me right now. He loves a good overtake, our Soprano Legend. Hopefully he can bless us with his commentary undertones this Sunday if he's not too busy for the F2, which is back this Sunday, I believe. I might be wrong. I've lost track of the calendar these days.
You are correct. It's around Jeddah.
What it was as much. This Sunday, 8 PM. The 5th instalment in the F2 Championship. Neda has just had a spin. He's second of the race so far. Not having a very good evening, down in P16 now. And Magsy now 30 seconds off the back of him at the field. He must be so deflated as well. I'm not good as well, having an instant and being 2 seconds off the back of Magsy at the moment. But don't be too disheartened, lads. Well, I keep saying I'm pretty sure we're going to get a safety car, but it's been 6 laps and we've only had a virtual safety car so far. It's not looking too good at the moment.
Obviously, we don't want to see safety cars, but yeah, they do need a safety car at this point to bring them back into the races. DJ looks like he's had an issue. Oh, he's in the pits, that's why. That's really early something. That must be, yeah, front wing change for TJ. Must have had contact with the wall at some point. Once again, that's a shame for the Alpine driver there. He had such a good start to the race. He has put enough sets of mediums on here. But it's a lot of time to make up for wing damage.
Is indeed. As TJ, I think your prediction of 6 lap softs is coming true. Diamond then is coming back at Valente now in P4, who's dropped off Tadas in P3. So struggling now on those soft tyres, Valente. I mean, is a soft to a hard achievable if he stretches the soft stints out, or will both sets of tyres, even the hards, be ruined towards the end of the race?
I think the hards will be ruined towards the end of the race. I think you can get the hards definitely to the end, but they're not going to be in a great condition at all, and you're probably going to risk of a potential puncture, to be honest. And this is why I was surprised that Valente, of all drivers, well known the pace he's got, decided to qualify on them soft tyres.
Yeah, we knew he had the pace. We didn't think he'd finish the lap, but gone a different way to the rest of the field. Perhaps that will come back to bite him. Carries on though to lap 7 on those soft tyres. Diamond himself, it looks like he's struggling with traction almost a little bit now as well. I wonder if his setup is favouring him in terms of tyre temperatures at the moment. A man on a mission though at the minute. Soprano Legend now up to 7th place. As it stands, we saw him get past Willy Bum earlier on. Willy Bum's still behind him on the road, but now Soprano Legend up to P7 then.
Oh, no.
Soft tyres, get out of the way.
Nightmare for the Red Bull guys. They both come in to get in them soft tyres, but double stacked. Hobdob's lost time behind Mongo. They both come in for set mediums, which has committed them to a 2-stop strategy at this point. But what an absolute nightmare for the Red Bull boys there.
Oh, Hobley. Hobley is massive as well, so I don't know how he didn't get the call ahead of Mongo. Hobley is massive. But unfortunately, he has been held up by Mongo. And yeah, TJ, as you said, he's lost out a lot of time to his teammate there with the stack. And Red Bull not doing very well there. Karen Horner, have a hard look at yourself. For God's sake, woman. Sort out your pit stops. As the soft runners, I was about to mention the soft runners have come in. I didn't realise they were from the same team. But yeah. So yeah, Soprano Legend, he's done well to up to P7 at the moment, up 11 places from the back of the grid. A fantastic start from him, keeping it clean at the moment, not to try and jinx him too much, but hopefully he can carry on, as Valente is definitely struggling then with tyre grip at the moment. Car. Safety car is out. Oh dear.
Mongo's had a nightmare. Halfway through sector 2. I don't know if he's got front wing damage at this point. I can't get a decent camera angle. She is.
I think he has with the lines that he's taken. Maybe he's just been a bit silly on the impulse.
Yeah, he's got no front wing, so he'll have to come back in after just pitting, put them mediums on. That's disastrous, but at least he won't drop too much time at this point with the safety car that's out. Hopefully no one else collects their damage during that, because I think there was 3 or 4 drivers that were held up at that point. I mean, surprisingly, drivers coming in for put a set of hards on. They're taking advantage of the safety car at this point, commit themselves to one stopper. Soprano Legends put a new set of mediums on. Oh, and he spun out the pit lane! And I think he might have just reset to track.
It's worth mentioning, I think sometimes if you come out and put the order, it will automatically reset you. I don't know. I didn't see it. I was too busy looking at the gaps in the field. Yeah, he's back behind Willy Bum now. Yeah. If he's dropped it at pit exit, I think it does reset. I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully he didn't. I would like to give Soprano Legend the benefit of the doubt, as I know he's a very stand-up guy. Soprano Legend.
Sorry to interrupt you, Biddle. He's come into the chat and said, yeah, it's a reset from him.
Oh, there we go. See, I thought it would be. See, CJ, I like to see the good in people, TJ. You see, I knew it would reset him. You see? Yeah, he's a stand-up guy. He does a lot for the league, so there you go. We reset him. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And discussion, we reset him, yeah.
End of discussion. It's our head steward, always being cautious. Head steward is out for blood recently. He's been wrong too many times.
As the front runners were discussing that, I've all taken advantage of the safety car coming for a set and hards. Tadas has stayed out on the mediums. That could come back and bite him if there isn't such a safety car. Obviously the guys are covering themselves off. No more safety cars and going to the end on these hards. It's probably a mix between the grid at this point, isn't it? Half on mediums, half on hards.
I'd tell you if I weren't looking at position change. Yep. There we go. Half on mediums, half on hards. Yeah, so Snedden into the pits for those hard tyres. Tadas, interesting enough, choosing to stay out on track then. As Fishsticks, yeah, asked for tyres. There you go, Fishsticks. Sorry, that's we were too busy discussing Soprano Legends misfortunes that, yeah, we didn't see the tyres there. So yeah, Snedden and Nigel Pickle coming into the pits. Then TS9 put the hard tyres on earlier on and continues on those hard tyres that he started the race on. Diamond, FPR Locker, all pitting for the hard tyres. Willy Bum hard tyres, David Lowface hard tyres. They should run till the end now, of course, hopefully, depending on this safety car and further safety cars. Tadas, looks like he's made a little bit of an error here in not coming into the pits. Magsy now, of course, back into this race after having his issues earlier on. Mongo, who caused the safety car and somehow carried on. Thanks, Mongo. You really helped me out there with my bet with TJ. Somehow carried on. Yeah, looks like we're going to get safety car for another lap, of course. The field so spread out at the moment. Skibbid and Al Gore choosing not to come into the pits then, looking to perhaps take advantage of a second safety car later on. And the hard tyres poses a little bit of an interesting question here, of course, into who can get these tyres to work. We haven't seen, of course, any running on the hard tyres so far. I know this is the tyre that the majority of the race would be run on. So hopefully some drivers have done a little bit of practice in running the hard tyres around here, of course, but now it's a little bit of a different ball game. And can Nigel Piggle, who we knew did not have the pace to match Snedden on the mediums, he didn't have the pace on the softs in qualifying at least, can he find something on the hard tyres here? Can he force Snedden almost into an unforced error? I mean, Snedden's got his rear gunner ahead of him at the moment in Tadas. Whether Tadas gets out the way for Snedden is another question. But is there obviously a difference, TJ, in this hard tyre running? Can we see perhaps different pace from some drivers here?
Yeah, definitely, especially if you set up as it's all goes in your setups. We see different compound tyres work different on different people on drivers' cars, depends on setup. So yeah, definitely we could see Nigel setup work better on the hards. You know, the key bit on the hard tyre is to how quick you can get them to rubber in and get up to temperature and start being able to lean on the car really. So it is a race between these top two with who can get more comfort on them tyres quickly and start leaning on them. Obviously, as you mentioned, Snedden's got his rear gunner ahead of him. I imagine Tadas would lane through. We have seen it previously in the season. Then Tadas will probably hold Nigel up for a little bit, so that might work in Snedden's advantage. But yeah, it's going to be interesting restarts between these top three.
Yeah, and I just wonder if or how quickly Tadas will get out the way for his teammate. He knows he's on a different strategy now. Snedden looking to run till the end. Tadas has to pit again. Will he play the team game here and help him secure that win, which will set him on his way to getting that championship. I don't know the exact permutations at the minute, TJ, but if the race was to finish like this, I think he's close to becoming champion.
Yeah, I think
This was the finishing order.
I think he is. Yeah, it's definitely not far away.
Well, it's a different Alfa Romeo leading us away for the safety car restart, but he seems to have taken a leaf out of his teammate's book, leaving it right to the line to go, and now he has gone.
Yeah.
And has he perhaps put his teammate in a vulnerable position here? Nigel Pickle looking to go around the outside of Snedden then, and Snedden running Nigel Pickle off the road. Contact between the two of them. Snedden continues on. Nigel Pickle feeds back in behind. Don't think there's any damage there between the two of them. Contact behind as well. T-jerks round at turn 2. And has fallen to the back of the field, but I don't think there was any damage between the two of them there. It just looked like a little bit of hard racing on the restart.
Yeah, definitely. Tadas really ruined Snedden's restart there for how late he left it. Nigel was all over it, pretty much side by side as Tadas went, which is why we saw that battle into turn 1. But yeah, it looked like there was no damage. They're both racing nice and clean here. Snedden's over the back of Tadas and Nigel's a bit further back. Thankfully no damage, so let's see what happens in these next couple of laps.
Well, Snedden still can't get ahead of his teammate on those 10-lap-old medium tyres, then he still has to run behind at the moment. Another yellow flag out at the moment, and I think, can't work out who's dropping down.
So,
I'm not good.
So,
had an incident with David Lowface.
Yeah, Soprano Legend was also called for that. He's dropping backwards currently. As I think, T-jerks out.
T-jerks in the wall.
That could be a safety car. Hopefully not.
T-jerk straight in the wall where Nigel Pickle lost it in qualifying. We can't go back to get a cut of that action though, unfortunately. I think TS9's round as well, facing backwards on the circuit. Snedden picks up a time penalty. I wonder how crucial that will be. It's all kicking off after the safety car restart. TS9 needs to turn it around quickly before getting disqualified, and he has done, and will continue on. And it is indeed TJ, safety car number 2.
Oh, I mean, I didn't want the safety car number 2 necessarily. I can only imagine he brought that out because TS9 was facing the wrong way. It was too late for the T-jerk instance, and TS was the only car that was facing the wrong way at that point, but it seems a little petty from the game to bring a safety car out for that.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, the first safety car came up because Mongo was facing the wrong way as well. Mongo didn't retire, he was just facing the wrong way in the circuit, so yeah, perhaps forced into that one there, Michael Massey. Who we still have as our race director, unfortunately. Perhaps forced into that safety car decision there, and yeah, so we have our second safety car of the race. Tadas still leads from Snedden, now the Pickle in 3 still, FPR Locker then up to 4. Great stint from him, despite him being a little bit off the back of Nigel Pickle, but he will look to take those hard tyres till the end, as well as those ahead of him then. And of course this brings back those drivers that lost out. TS9, who was backwards, I'm Not Good, who had the issue as well, so they can perhaps come into the pits now, put a set of hard tyres on TJ and surely run till the end at this point.
Yeah, it's a logical thing to do at this point is put them set of hards on and just play to see where the race goes from this point. I expect Tadas to come in, although no, he's decided to stay out. I think Tadas has made a mistake there. I can't see the benefit of staying out any longer on these mediums. Your potential pit windows opening up in the next 3 to 4 laps anyway, so but for what you do behind the safety car, it's worth just putting them hards on now and start rubbing them in, to be honest.
Yeah, lap 13 we're going on to here on those medium tyre. I know he's probably, what is he waiting for? Like, what is he waiting for in terms at this point? I can't think of what scenario Tadas would rather take a pit stop on than right now.
No.
Like, this is perfect for him to come into the pit, put a new set of hards on. We know he missed out from the first safety car. He's never going to run medium to soft. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know what he's waiting for. I just feel he has made a mistake here. Um, oh, and he has left the session, so I'll give him an invite back in now. But yeah, the Alpha Madrid.
I think
Gone.
I think I just saw him desync actually. He did the safety car thing ghosted into him, so I think he desynced there. Interesting point in the chat, of course. It's a brilliant point to go to our much beloved Twitch chat as the drivers trickle around behind the safety car. Nigel Piggle saying he forced me way off on that safety car restart. Just wondering if he'll look to try and. I mean, I can almost guarantee Nigel Piggle has a clip of it, and we'll be sending that to the streams to look at. It will be after the race, of course.
I don't know. My gut feeling on it was just that it was clean hard racing. I don't think he purposely forced him off track. If anything, it like Sneddon had a snap of oversteer through the corner, which sent his back end into Nigel.
Yeah, it was very hard. We saw it on the result. It was definitely very, very hard racing. Safety car in this that very late on. Tadas has just got back in. I don't know if he's going to retake his car. His AI is actually taken into the pits. Tadas' AI choosing to pit. Sneddon becomes a safety car leader and leads the field away then. I think it's caught Nigel Piggle napping a little bit that time. Locker moves up to P3, of course, with Tadas into the pits, looking to try and get through. Didn't happen. Balente looking to go the inside of Diamond here for P4. Does make the move stick there, and he is ahead. Yellow flag out, and this time it is Skivid losing out on the safety car restart. It was TJ last time, Skivid this time. And P15 now for him. Balente, though, getting the move done with the medium tyre advantage over the hard tyres up to P4 now. And the top three then run Sneddon, Nigel Piggle, Locker, all on very similar tyres here. But yeah, I think coming into the pits there from Tadas' AI was obviously not what Tadas had in mind. But yeah, that give the safety car restart to Sneddon, which I think caught Nigel Piggle out.
Yeah, definitely. That's really unfortunate from Tadas, that is. But we did question before he left why he hadn't pitted in. The AI obviously saw our logic and decided to pit him while he was in control. And yeah, he's dropped it back into P16 on them hard tyres, and it's a lot of hard work from that point to really recover his race in this pit now, to be honest.
Indeed, it is. No, that Sneddon has got a outright advantage in terms of pace over Nigel Piggle. Then it'll be interesting to see if he can translate that on these hard tyres. Carol Locker dropping off the back of Nigel Piggle as well. Now Balente looking to get back that third place, which I'm sure he believes is his after the pace that he did show in qualifying then. But medium tyres looking to go to the end now, surely. Will not want another pit stop unless there is a late safety car. May or may not see the field pretty much bunched together at the moment. Of course, second lap under the safety car, no DRS just yet to aid overtaking. William picks himself up a 3-second time penalty down in P11 at the moment. Soprano Legend back up to 8th place. He was running as high as P6 earlier, but had a mishap with coming out the pits, I think it was.
Yeah, he has made a mistake though at this point. I feel he has only been on the medium tyres. This is his second set of medium tyres he's put on, so he's got to pit again at some point. And all the hard work he's done is going to get undone unless there isn't another safety car which you can benefit from.
Yeah, I think a lot of the drivers out there hoping for a late safety car, definitely the ones on the mediums. I know I am. for a late safety car, as Balente then pulls up behind FPR Locker at the moment. Definitely has the pace because of those tyres at the moment. Whether he's got the strategy is a question to be had later on. Sneddon has now pulled out a 2-second gap at the moment over Nigel Piggle. Yellow flags again for TS9, who's round a corner in which we lost T-Jerk earlier on this race. He has continued on his way, not brought out a safety car, fortunately for the rest of the field. And we go then onto the third lap after the safety car. DRS now enabled,
Oh,
and Williams
Max's dropped
behind
it.
has absolutely put it into the wall. Safety car is out.
No. Oh,
Lap 15 of 31 off the final corner. I think we saw 4 last week, TJ.
Yeah, we did.
There's a big chance we might see 4 again here, given the time that we have left in this race. The Aston Martin coming out to lead the field round once again, but Maxi off that final corner. I think he was a little bit rattled by the race earlier on. TJ, I'm going to ask you now actually to look at the permutations for the title, because I know Magsy was P2 in the standings. He won't be scoring today, of course, just putting it into the wall. So I'm just wondering what positions those around Magsy have to come in to avoid Snedden taking the title today.
So currently it's Locke and Valenti that's stopping him. He has to outscore Valenti by 19 points and Locke by 13.
So Locker by 30, and what was he on, sorry?
Valenti has
Valenti.
19.
19 points, oh, he has to score more than 19 points of Valenti, okay, so, it's about, what was that, P8? P8 with sending it the fastest lap?
Yep.
P8. So it's still unlikely. I think Valenti has definitely got at least a P8 in him. Safety car doesn't help his strategy though, it's come a little bit early still at this point, these mediums.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised. I'm listening for track position. They might have a new set of medium as well, but I'd be tempted with some, perhaps at this point, some of these hard runners ditching the hards for a set of fresh mediums. Obviously, it's a risk at this point. We've only just gone over half race distance, but with low fuel loads and tyre deg isn't that high around here. I think if they did take the opportunity to come on the mediums, they'd get them to the end pretty easily at this point. I'm not quite sure what's happened to Tadas here. I mean, I don't think he's been on them tyres that long, but I think he pitted and he's come out on 14 lap old mediums.
Well, let's come back into the pits. Yeah, I don't know what's happened there, but he is back in. The garage do have a set of medium tyres ready for him. I'm assuming this is the fresh shot that he fresh set that he wanted earlier on. Has he only run mediums? Did he run the soft when he came in the first time? Or hards?
I'm just checking now. What's that? Oh,
I think anyone that's got a fresh set of mediums at this point can run till the end. We've got 14 laps to go. Very easy, short.
Yeah, so the Alfa Romeo team has definitely done something wrong, because he started on mediums, went to hards, and put the mediums back on, but the team didn't give him that fresh set he wanted. Bit of a shame for the Alfa Romeo team there. It's just not been Tadas's day again. We have seen this in a couple of races this season where he's shown the pace and quality, and when it comes to the race, he just hasn't been consistent enough, let's say.
Yeah, he's back out. Tadas on new mediums anyway. I've just seen Zilla's best in the chat saying they can't put on 14 lap old mediums. Yeah, that went well. But back out there on fresh mediums now, right at the back of the field. The whole field at the minute is the filling in an Alfa Romeo sandwich. Then Snedden still leads the way. As things stand, he will not walk away from this race as Tier 3 champion. Valenti still in P7. He has to outscore Valenti by 19 in order to get the title. Locker is also P3 at the moment, and he has to outscore him by 13 points, and he's not doing either at the moment. But if the race was to finish like it is now, it is a very, very, very strong probability that he will wrap it up next week at 17, which I think is
I think so. Yeah, I'm just on board Valenti, and he's having a bit of a nightmare currently. He's having some connection issues here for definite, because he's lagging around all over the place. Yeah, as he's just jumped behind Willy Bum. Won't surprise me if we see a Valenti disconnect very shortly.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, just what we wanted. I imagine a couple of clips going coming against him as well, because I think he might have bumped into David Lawface, and Willy Bum might have bumped into him at some point as well. So won't surprise me if we see some clips to the stewards. But the safety car is coming in, and Snedden is beginning to back the pack up already.
Typical Snedden safety car restart here. Back them up through the final sector, make them sweat. And we've seen Tanos do a couple of safety car restarts. Well, we didn't see him do the second one as he dived into the pits. His AI dived into the pits. Snedden then will take us away on this safety car restart. Nigel Piggle all over him behind, trying to get ahead. Typical Nigel Piggle restart, and Snedden perhaps looks like he's caught them a little bit early this time, not leaving it till last minute and choosing to go early then, and has indeed caught the rest of the field. There's a Ferrari into the wall in the background. I think it's David Lawface has dropped it off the final corner. Valente's Ferrari as well, dropping back from the field, P9 now, following his connection issues. Then don't think that'll bring out a safety car. David Lawface has continued on. He will need a new front wing. However, drops to the back of the field, and even more to the back of the field after his pit stop. His race is pretty much over now, but one person's race who isn't over is Snedden, who still leads out in front from Nigel Piggle.
Yeah, fantastic restart from Snedden as well. Initially Nigel was trying to push him on the safety car restart, and I think he backed off expecting Snedden to go last minute, but Snedden decided he had enough and just went to caught Nigel sleeping that way. But yeah, fortunate for David Lawface there. He's done so well to get into the top 10, then unfortunate. Hard tyres just not hot enough for that last corner. As I'm looking up and down the grid, and some of these drivers in the hards are definitely struggling. I've just seen Mongo have Willy Bum have a bit of a moment. So yeah, the hard tyres are definitely struggling to come back up to temperature.
Yeah, and can those drivers on the new mediums, Nedder in P8, TS9 in P9, can he and they make those medium tyres count compared to those around them at the moment? Soprano Legend pitted for the hard tyres, a new set of those hard tyres, P7 at the moment. He'll have pace over Willy Bum ahead of him, and he is right on the back at the moment of Willy Bum. And he is driving a fine race at the moment, considering he started right at the back of the field. Perhaps got a little bit unlucky earlier on after his first pit stop, but looking to make a comeback here, and perhaps could finish as high as, at the minute, P5, as long as he doesn't pick up another penalty, and can continue on this set of tyres in the way that he is at the moment. But of course he has got, as I mentioned, Nedder and TS9 behind him, both on the medium tyres, will have that tyre advantage till the end of the race. Now there is a driver on soft tyres, TJ. It's Skivid, 4-lap old soft tyres. I'm assuming they will get to the end. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't have to pit again.
Yeah, he'll definitely have to pit again. I can't see how he gets them to the end. He'll probably come in lap 25, 26, perhaps one of them set of softs on, but yeah, I'm not quite sure what Skiver was thinking there. Perhaps wrong tyre selected as Nedder and Mongo are fighting right behind Soprano Legend here.
Yeah, I just caught it on board. Mongo got a bit out of shape, hit the wall, came back onto the track, collected Soprano Legend slightly, but Soprano Legend gets away with it, continues on in P6. Mongo, I'm not sure if he's got damage. He dropped a place to Nedder, as you mentioned. Bit of argy-bargy between them two, but he has continued on for now. but perhaps he's struggling on those 11 lap old mediums. I'm pretty sure he's got to pit as well, so he's very much out of position now in terms of his tyre strategy anyway.
Definitely. They're just not agreeing with him. And yeah, I think he needs to come in for perhaps another set of mediums, or perhaps go another couple laps and perhaps put softs on. But you definitely won't get to him on them. As we've seen a few time penalties creep in now for some of the drivers. It's been a long race already for them, and concentration perhaps lacking a little bit now. But as we saw on the last safety car restart, Snedden and Nigel in the league of their own, and they're just pulling ahead of Locker here. As it stands, FPR Locker is the only driver preventing Snedden from winning the championship today.
But entered down in P14. The permutations were that Snedden had to outscore FPR Locker now by 13 points tonight to confirm that Tier 3 championship. At the moment, Locker, running P3 of course, will not fall more than the required gap behind. Will only lose 10 points at the moment. Fastest lap of course can play its part. Let's bring up that fastest lap if I can find it. There we go. It is Snedden at the moment with the fastest lap. I'm sure that might be beaten by the end of the race depending on who puts the soft tyres on towards the end. So realistically, TJ, if Locker finishes P4, because he's got Diamond all over the rear of him at the moment and Locker is carrying that penalty, if Locker was to finish P4 he would lose 13 points. Would that make him champion, or would that make him kind of level on countback, or what would happen there?
No, I think that makes him champion. If Locker finishes P4 he drops to 13 points behind, including the fast. If you put the fast lap on top of that as well for Snedden, he drops 14 points behind. Yeah, so if Diamond does get this moved on and finish ahead of Locker, pending any stewards inquiries obviously, Snedden is our championship leader if the results stay, if the drivers stay the way they are and Diamond gets moved on.
Yeah, Diamond of course will currently at the moment get ahead of Locker on penalty, so crucial for Diamond if he wants this podium. He does not get another penalty, but he is going to look to get the move done on track now. Oh, a big slide behind Locker there. Manages to somehow avoid the wall. Incredible there for Diamond to not put it in the wall. Side by side with Locker here, though. They're still fighting for this podium place. Diamond in all this has picked up a penalty, but he's tagged Locker, and they've both hit the wall. They both hit the wall. It was very 50-50 there. I'm not sure what's happened.
As the fourth safety car comes out, but that is disastrous for both drivers there. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I think Locker might have got caught to the back of Diamond and he just drifted across, and both drivers lucky not to fit DNF there. I mean, anything can still happen at this point, but given the permutations, and I must stress that this is obviously pending any stewards inquiries and stuff, Snedden has done enough to win the championship today.
Yeah, as it stands, continues on. I was wondering how many drivers we'd seen for the soft tyres. Surely some of those drivers behind must be thinking about the softs indeed. I think Willy Bum has come into the pits and perhaps to put those soft tyres on till the end then. So I think there is going to still be some change in the order. Lots of drivers into the pit lane for soft tyres. Hopbrump gets a 5-second penalty for colliding with Locker under the safety car then. And he too into the pit for soft tyres. And so Snedden and Nigel Pickle, the only drivers to stay out at the moment on those hard tyres. Soprano Legend now moves into P3, choosing not to come into the pits as well. Tadas P4, I'm Not Good in P5. Willy Bum re-emerges then. He was P3, TJ. He's pitted for the soft tyres. He's come out in P6. Surely it was a no-brainer for some of those other drivers to come in for the soft tyres.
Yeah, definitely. With the amount of laps left, and especially a couple laps into the safety car, they'll get to the end and they'll be a lot quicker. Obviously, it's great to see Soprano Legend P3. He's had a fantastic race at the moment. But yeah, the guys who've gone for the soft have played a great hand here and have a really good finish to the end of this race. Obviously, the only thing we haven't taken into consideration here is that Snedden has got to build that gap back up from Nigel. He has got that time penalty. He does need to build that second back gap up. If he doesn't do it, and Nigel leaps him due to the time penalty, I believe he doesn't win the championship because he's got outscored Nigel by 3 points.
Yeah. So, lap 23 of 31 then. Imagine the safety car will be out, of course, another lap. So when we get underway again, we'll have about 6 laps of racing.
Yeah.
Valente back in the session now, finally. 14 on a new set of soft tyres. See what he can do from there. Locker P12. So at the moment, it is Nigel Piddle currently denying Snedden the chance of wrapping up the championship tonight. It will all but be confirmed should the results finish as they will, but of course we can't quite declare him as champion should this be the finishing order. He will be as good as, but we can't quite say for definite that he is. As Valente's AI back into the pit, has it just put on 15 lap old mediums?
Yep. Yes, he's put 15 lap old mediums on. That's gone well for the Ferrari driver.
Valente,
he's left the session again.
it's a good. I'd just stay out. I wouldn't even come back in. Valente's car that was on fresh soft tyres with about six laps to go. It's now pitted for 15 lap old mediums because that makes all the logical sense in the world. Well done there. Well done there, Mattia Binotto down there at Ferrari. Great tactical.
So,
I'm just wondering, TJ, I was just going to say about Soprano Legend in P3. 6 lap old hards? Can he challenge the top 2?
yeah, definitely. I'm not sure whether he's got the pace to do it, but he can definitely challenge him. But either way, Soprano Legend, no matter what happens at this point, he's had a fantastic race starting P18 to be P3 on lap 24. Obviously got some fast guys behind him, but he's had a fantastic race that the Aston Martin driver has.
Penalty free as well at the moment, which could come into play at the end of the race, of course. A lot of the drivers behind him currently carrying at least 3-second penalties. Let's go to those penalties now. Actually, Snedden with 3 seconds at the moment, as we've already mentioned. I'm Not Good with 6. Willy Bum 3. Mongo 3. Nedda 6. Hobnob 5. Skibbit and Locker both on 3 as well. Diamond rounding off the 3-second penalty keepers.
Yeah,
The safety car, TJ, might go round again here, which is not going to help Snedden at all this race.
No, not at all. While you're just on penalties, I have had a cheeky look at the race director, and pressure is on Nigel at this point. He has one warning away from picking the 3-second time penalty up himself. So he has got to keep it clean no matter what Nigel does at this point. So Soprano Legend, assuming he can keep up here, could potentially be on for his race win.
Yep. He will look to take advantage of that tyre situation. Tadasser as well, 7 lap old mediums in P4. He's looking very handy as well. They'll comfortably get till the end of this race now, of course, so perhaps he can make that tyre advantage count and at least get some points on the board for Alfa Romeo in their hunt for the constructors. I'm not too sure on the permutations for the constructors, but I know Alfa Romeo with a healthy lead as it stands. Whether they'll be champions after here, I don't think they will, but there we go. They'll take a big stride towards it at the minute with P1 and P4, that's for certain.
Yeah, definitely, and not just for the TP constructors as well, for the overall constructors for the league. They're miles ahead. It's surely a matter of time now that the Alfa Romeo team are crowned the champion, the constructor champions in T3 and overall.
Indeed, and yeah, I mean a team that's not had a very good time today at all is the Ferrari team, P14 and P16 at the moment. Belente and David Lawface, but there's still time for David Lawface to perhaps try and get some points, playing those penalties to his advantage. And another driver who looks like he's in a good seat for the restart, TS9 at the moment, no penalties on a set of fresh, soft tyres. He might be able to get some good points as well, with I'm Not Good trundling around on 10 lap old hard tyres with the penalty at the moment, and Snedden is already backing up the field, TJ.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. We do know he likes to back him up as soon as possible. It'll be interesting to see what Nigel does here, because he tried pushing on last time we got caught out, so we'll see what happens between these two. But Nigel is so close to the back of Snedden. He is cutting that mightily close.
Indeed, and the safety car does get away. Nigel Piggle, though, harrying the back of Senna. He's not even weaving here, he's just tailing the Alfa Romeo. He is not prepared to be caught out this time. Senna got the better of him last time. Will he leave it later this time round, or will he bolt early as he did last time? And he has gone for it here, Snedden. Already Nigel Piggle. Oh, Senna's dropped it! Senna's round off the final corner. It was avoiding giving us a McLaren.
Oh, no good out!
I'm not good into the wall. Snedden, though, dropping to the back of the field. Off the final corner on the safety car restart. No safety car for that stricken McLaren, though. It is just waved yellows, but Nigel Piggle assumes the lead of this race.
Yeah, that can only be down to the pressure of Nigel Piggle, who pushed him out that last sector, and Snedden knowing he had to get away from him. That is an absolute shame for the championship leader. And I mean, yeah, Nigel's played a blinder there. Same with Soprano Legend, P2 now. He's that race run's looking very handy if Nigel Piggle does pick this time penalty up.
Well, I'm Not Good got very much caught out by the backwards Alfa Romeo there. Unbelievable that he was never going to avoid him. He, as you saw, squirmed into the wall. And he's now out of the race from his position as well, P5, which of course promotes the rest. Nigel Piggle now leads this race. Soprano Legend in P2 from the back of the grid. What a race he's had so far. Snedden, though, must absolutely be kicking himself. He could have confirmed the championship tonight, but in the most controversial of circumstances, on a safety car restart, the tyres much too cold, caught him out, and now he's down in P14.
Yeah, he's making the moves, but he isn't going to make them enough, and yeah, he moves on to next week. It is unfortunate, but that just goes to prove even the coolest of drivers that, you know, he hasn't really pulled foot wrong all season, to be honest. That, you know, that it just proves how hard that final corner is, that you don't get the tyres hot enough, but they're too cold, and you just drop it, and that's shown by a driver that's been on the ball all season.
Up to P12 now, setting up to get back through the field. I'm surprised enough to come into the pits for any kind of repairs after that spin. 17 lap old hards now for him. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he could have come into the pits. He had a 10-second gap to Willy Bum on that for the last safety car. So he could have come in, perhaps got those soft tyres on and been in a much more comfortable position. He might have to have got past perhaps Nigel Piggle and Soprano on track, but yeah, he missed out on that opportunity. Chose to play it safe, and it's completely backfired now then. So we know for certain the championship will not be decided tonight. Tadas now looking to try and get ahead of Willy Bum. Willy Bum trying to get back ahead of him on the better tyres. Willy Bum carrying that penalty in 3.5 laps now from home. As it stands, the podium, Nigel Piggle, Soprano Legend and Tadas in P3. TS9 will currently shoot 4th place. A great result from him considering his early struggles in this race. It'll be a very, very much welcome 12 points to that Mercedes driver. But there is still 3-4 laps to go, and anything can happen here.
Yeah, definitely. All it takes is a driver to lose its best on these hards, as someone has dropped it. Oh, TS9, he's dropped it on the final corner. exactly where Snedden dropped it. Hasn't lost out as many places, but what a shame for the Mercedes driver.
Well, that's what we call a commentator's curse. No P4 for you today, sir. Enjoy that 1 point down there in P2. might get something back. As Tadas makes a move then for P2 up the inside of turn 4 on Soprano Legend. Is the race win still on here for Tadas? Contact behind as well. Hobnob now up to P4 for Red Bull. Mongo P6 as well, so a good turnaround from them two that were right at the back early on as well. We saw there really a mishap in the pits, but they continued on and currently occupy P4 and P6. Can Tadas now, the gap just under 2 seconds, can he get that down? He has got a tyre advantage, and can he somewhat salvage at least the maximum points for him, let alone claw some back for Alfa Romeo today?
Yeah, definitely. He's certainly got the pace and he's got the tyre advantage you mentioned, so this is going to go down to the wire, I reckon. It is going to be close. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. But the battle for P4 down to P7 is really hot. On the drivers are trading places. There's been contact between them all, so this is certainly far from over. As Neda picks another time penalty, I believe that's puts him on 6 seconds, but he is coming into the pits for a change. No, he's not going into the pits. He's just put across the pit lane curb. That was a bit of a weird move from the Haas driver.
Wow, there's nothing like taking the esports line on Peter to try and get a couple more seconds. Willibum crucially picks up another 3 second time penalty, which does mean, as it stands, Hobnob will get that 4th place. He's now ahead of Soprano Legend, but on the penalties, Soprano Legend will repass him for that final podium position. He just has to keep a cool head for these final 2.5 laps now. Tadas has got the gap now to just under 1.5 seconds. Will he get DRS maybe on the final lap or even the penultimate lap here? Can he get that gap down? He has got the tyre advantage, but those mediums now are 11 laps old, so surely they're going to be starting to feel a bit of wear at this stage of the race.
Yeah, definitely they are. But I still think he can continue pushing it. It says going to be a really fantastic end to the race, but yeah, unless he gets DRS this time round, I don't think he'll be able to do it.
Tadas now the gap down to 1.2 then, so it might be that he gets DRS towards the second DRS zone on the next lap. But it looks like the pressure's getting too slightly here through the final sector. We do definitely have though a race on, at least for this race win. Hobnob has got the gap up already to 2.2 seconds to Soprano Legend. Don't get me wrong, I think Soprano Legend deserves a podium for his drive today, but Hobnob is showing some real pace here to try and get that gap up to 5 seconds.
Yeah, he is. Soprano Legend really needs to move it. The issue he's got is he's hardly got no ERS. He is running pretty much an empty. But same as Hobnob, he's running empty as well, but he's trying to push against the DRS off Tadas. So yeah, Soprano just really needs to keep his head down, keep it clean. Otherwise, his podium place, he is going to lose it, unfortunately.
The gap now up to 2.7 seconds, just under 2 laps to go till the end of this race. Tadas can't close his gap down anymore at the moment. Then the shootout for the win looks to be going in Nigel Piggle's favour at the moment. Yellow flags out in sector 2. TS9's made his race go from worse to even worse, dropping back down the field now, down to P12 and out of the points after getting it all wrong at turn 9 then, but continues on his way. We're still following this fight up front for the race win then. Tadas pushing and harrying Nigel Piggle along the road, but cannot get under that 1 second gap. In fact, Hobnob has closed right up to the back of Tadas here and might even look to try and make a move on track at least, even if he won't get him on penalties.
Yeah, that's absolutely disastrous for Soprano Legend. That is, he's 3.5 seconds behind him with Hobnob in that DRS range now. That gap is just going to be hammered up. This is going to be absolute heartbreak for Soprano Legend, I think.
We have 3.7 seconds now then, so we can't afford to lose more than 1.3 seconds. What he's got going in his favour here is that Hobnob has now reached traffic, of course, with these front two. He's going to have to try and clear the driver in second place, Tadas, in order to get 5 seconds up the road here. Looking back through the pack, this is another yellow flag out as TS9 retires and in the pits. Looking back through the pack, it looks like Diamond might be promoted here up to at least 6. Gap between him and Mongo at the end of this lap. Anyway, Neder's penalty is going to drop him back and at least give Stedden a handful of points in P8. Even if it's a consolation, he's nailed on for the win today before that incident after the safety car restart. Hobnob now is 4.4 seconds ahead of Soprano Legend. It looks like, TJ, the race is going to be done on the timing screens here as to whether the last podium position is either Hobnob or Soprano Legend for the final sector.
Yeah, Soprano Legend will be hoping that Hobnob just gets held up completely behind Tadas, which is looking like the case. He is struggling behind Tadas. That is Soprano Legend's only hope at this point, but that gap, it's going to be so close in the finish line, I think.
Rolla can pick up another 3-second time penalty, but Nigel Piggle then has managed to fend off the fight from Tadas in P2 and takes another win in Tier 3 FPRL. Tadas comes across the line in P2, but will it be Hobnob or Soprano Legend picking up P3? I think it's Soprano Legend.
Yeah.
I don't think the gap was big enough. It said he was 3 seconds back, but I don't think he was 8 seconds back.
No, he wasn't. It was he was about 4.8, 4.9. So Soprano does finish P3. We'll adjust that on the standings, and we'll look back at it to make certain. But I'm pretty certain Soprano Legend is P3.
Yeah, we might have to look back at the final standings with the connection issues we've had today, but we think Soprano Legend did get that P3 in the end. That will make a P4 valiant effort to try and snatch that podium away from the Aston Martin, but didn't quite manage it in the end.
News from the Twitch chat that he got a pen on the last corner.
Oh. Well, that's a big shame. How's he managed that? Oh dear. He did. He got a 3-second penalty off the final corner. We missed it. Well, it is Hobnob then that gets P3 and rounds off the last podium place. Joining Nigel Piggle outside the podium. What a shame for Soprano Legend, who without that penalty would, as you saw in the timing screens, have just finished ahead of Hobnob by less than a tenth. But did he gain that running wide? Who knows? Diamond gets P5 for Mercedes. William? He is William. He won't appreciate me calling him his real name. Willy Bum in P6 for Williams. Mongo P7. Snedden, we saw him leading the race for so long, but after that last safety car, dropped it on the final corner. Spun around. P8 for him. He still gets the fastest lap, so will take away 5 points, but it's not anywhere close to the 26 points he was almost guaranteed by the end. David Lawface picks up 2 points in P9 for Ferrari. A good recovery drive considering he was at the back of the field after that last safety car. Neder in P10 rounding off the points for the Haas team, and we'll see who we can get into the party for a lovely chit chat at the end of the race. I'm sure TJ, as trusted as ever on Wednesday evenings, you've already got the invites going out to those on the podium.
I'm invited them all already, it's just that no one wants to join us. So Nigel's got nips to the shop, so he definitely won't be joining. Broad.
Nigel's lying. He's actually lying. Nigel's not got to go to the shops. He's chatting absolute maca-paca. He never joins for the podium interviews. Even if, I think I've done one podium interview with Nigel Piggle. I think it was last week actually.
I mean, this isn't looking promising, Bill. This might first race where we can't do the interview at the top three?
Oh, come on, Hobley. I know. I didn't think we'd get Tadas in here for an interview. I knew Nigel Pickle wouldn't join because he's an absolute fraud. I thought we'd get at least Hobley. Come on, Hobley. Pull through. Oh, God.
Oh, this hasn't gone well. So what I'm going to do is I am going to invite 2 other drivers and hope they join. I'm going to invite one who is, we normally talk about this on the interviews, but it is controversial, I think. But my driver of the day is Soprano Legend.
Whoa, TJ, you don't.
Whoa.
I have to ask the question, lad.
Go on, lad, ask the question, but rewrite that one.
Ruined it now, TJ.
No, come on. Ask the question. We'll make it special. Come on.
Hold on, TJ. If I get to guess your driver of the day, what's the wager that I can guess your driver?
Go on, guess it. Go on.
Is your driver of the day by any chance Soprano Legend?
Oh, you got it bang on.
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, as the podium frauds let us down. Thanks, Nigel Pickle, who's got to apparently go to the shops at 10 o'clock at night. What are you going for at 10 o'clock at night? And Tadas, Tadas doesn't usually join for the interviews. Hobley, I'm very disappointed in you, lad, but we've got a couple of drivers in here that can give us a bit of an interview, and they are championship leader Snedden and driver of the day Soprano Legend. TJ, I'll let you interview your driver of the day if you want.
Yep, that's fine. So Soprano Legends, first off, congratulations for driver of the day. It's been fully deserved, mate. I think we'll start on your qualifying. I mean, based on qualifying, you must have thought that it was going to be a bit of a lonely race towards the back for yourself.
Yeah, qualifying for never ever get that all right with my race starts, but I always when it's like a track like Singapore or a street circuit, when you're right at the back, you just want to hold off as much as you can. So but no, qualifying wasn't good at all for me. I think I went through 2 sets of soft tires. The first set I went off on just before the bridge, when you go under the bridge, went off there, and then couldn't reverse back out because there was traffic. And then the other set I just kept invalidating on, so it was a 2-minute lap for me in qualifying. So yeah, not very good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it would have taken a lot to reset your mind and refocus, but just on lap 1, you went from P18 to P13, 12, which is fantastic considering it was Singapore and the way the pack was. So how are we feeling after lap 1, making so many places up?
Yeah, well, like I said, I just little things sort of just started opening up for me. I think there was a Haas that spun at one point, and then I think there was an AI player as well. So I think I just got an alright start. Like I said, I think the thing that I'm best at on this game is my race starts. So I think it was just that coming up, and then yeah, good lap 1.
Yeah, and then obviously throughout there was a couple of safety cars which you took advantage of. I say you kept it nice and clean. You kept it nice and clean up until the last corner, which is very, very unfortunate. I mean, how are we feeling after the last safety car? Because you were in P2 after the last safety car?
Yeah, so, being P3, I was like, okay, I'd be alright with this, or I knew Tadas was right behind me, so I felt like it was just sort of inevitable for him to overtake me. And then whatever happened with Snedden happened, and then, managed to stay sort of just behind Pickle for 1 lap. If DRS was a lap earlier, then I might have been able to just stay up with him a little bit longer. But no, after that he started to pull away, and I think it was just, these guys are a lot better than me, and I was on the hard tyres. Everyone else was on the sort of mediums or softs, which were a lot fresher. So I was starting to get sort of swallowed up by the pack, but it did feel really, really good. Being up in that place, especially starting towards the back. I thought I made some really, really good overtakes as well at some points. On the second lap, I made, one of the best overtakes I think I've ever done on David. So You know, thanks to him for being a nice, clean racer. I think this race is probably the first race that I know where I've actually overtaken people. I've usually just managed to get people through like pit stops or like them crashing out. So I actually felt like quite racy today.
Yeah, I mean, from our point of view, we said with qualifying that you know we were shocked you were so low down and you got fantastic pace, and you certainly showed it through the race how quick you were. And you know, you certainly fooled me and Biddle originally when the checker flag was thrown, but we thought the game had unfortunately screwed you out of P3. Then we were very quickly informed of the penalty, which is very unfortunate. But no, I mean, fantastic race of Power Legend, and congratulations on driver today.
Yeah, thank you very much, and well done to everyone on the podium as well, and unlucky Snedden.
Yep. Speaking of Snedden, I'll pass across to Biddle, who we can interview our championship leader.
Yeah. So Snedden. Definitely have much space for this. Lucky. We'll start with qualifying. We knew that you had such a big advantage over the rest of the field. Definitely Q1 and Q2 limit closer and closer. Did you not feel like you got the best lap hooked up there?
No, I probably could have gone a bit quicker, and then I just come out the end of sector 2 and just see Nigel in the wall, and I nearly binned it into him. So yeah, I probably could have gone a bit faster, but then it didn't really matter because he crashed anyway. So
He did, yeah. He kind of ruined that last run for you as we picked up on the stream. In the race, of course, you pretty much dominated throughout. You know, kind of hung it out on the hard tyres for quite a long time though, and perhaps that's what caught you out in the end. What was your thoughts in terms of strategy?
sort of just think what Piggle would do, just because I sort of had the pace to keep him behind, and I just thought that he would stay out the whole race just for track position. So yeah, I just stayed out.
Were you aware coming into this race of the championship permutations? Of course, I mean we were following it a little bit loosely on the race, given that it was pretty unlikely, but at the end it became a realistic opportunity. Did you kind of know what you need to do this race to wrap up the championship?
Then I didn't know what like other people would have to do, but I knew that if I won and got the fastest lap, it could have happened. Could it have, or is that right?
Yeah, I think it was kind of leading on to the next question I was going to ask, really, in terms of the pit stop strategy. If you could do it again, obviously, we think that you were caught out, obviously, on the tyres being a bit cold, not safety car race. So if you could do it again, would you have pitted for those soft tyres, given the gap you had to the guys behind?
I probably would have pitted, but I just because I had the 3-second penalty as well. I just thought that I'd get caught up behind just like 10 cars or something, even though I sort of had 10-second gap. So I just sort of stayed out and kept track position to Nigel Piggle.
Yeah, and obviously we saw early on the race a little bit of racing between you and Nigel, but you always seemed like you had the advantage over him. Did you kind of feel that way in the race, where you just knew you had the pace advantage, you just had to match him on strategy and not do much else really?
Yeah, I mean the medium stint went quite well. I sort of kept him around, was it 5 seconds, and then on the hards, it sort of went a bit shaky. I got 3 warnings in on like the first lap on them, and then I wasn't really comfortable on them. But yeah, maybe I should have come into the pit. Thought it was best to just hop.
I mean, the championship looks all but wrapped up really in your favour in terms of the point swing and everything really that's going on kind of behind you with those that are in that fight for P2 at the moment. I know you didn't wrap it up here. Would you like to wrap it up at the next round? Do you want to get it done as early as possible, or is it kind of just one of those, it's just inevitably going to happen, you'll just take it when it happens?
I mean, there's no like sort of preference, but I mean, as soon as possible is sort of the aim. So there's less chance of just bottling it, I guess. So yeah, America Kota. I don't know, but yeah, hopefully it is, but I'm not too sure.
The pace that you did today, but keeping it a little bit cleaner, there's a good chance that we might see you crowned the champion next week. But he's salvaging some points from today's race, and if not extending the gap to P2, at least extending it over some of those that are currently behind you in the championship still after their mishaps in the race. TJ, have you got anything to add to that, or any comments?
No, I mean, I just really reiterating what you said, that it was unfortunate for Snedden, and hopefully you can wrap it up next week.
Yeah. No, well, thank you for that, TJ. Thank you, Soprano, and thank you, Snedden, for joining us for the interviews. Well done again, boys. Snedden won for salvaging some points from that, and Soprano, well done on, if it wasn't even P3, it was at least P4 in the end for you there. So congratulations on that recovery drive.
Thank you.
And that's all we've got time for this week. It's a very late stream this week, 20 past 10. I think that's helped by the amount of safety cars. Me and TJ, we didn't win our bet. We said 2 out of 3. We had 4. That says it all, really.
So does that mean
does
that mean we're both losers and have to do shots now?
It does seem that way, TJ. It does seem that way. It does seem that way. It's not gone well. It's not gone well at all. But be sure to join us tomorrow for Tier 1, 8 PM, as you know. 8 PM on Thursday and 8 PM on Friday. Or Tier 2s will take us around Singapore as well. The F2 Championship is back this Sunday. Is a race around Jeddah, round 5 of that championship. I think the leader is Brookie Min at the moment, our Tier 1 driver, but he has got some competition behind him, so see if he can hold on to that lead this coming Sunday.
The Prema Racing.
On the Prema Racing, Snedden says. Where you might catch Snedden racing for Prema Racing on Sunday as well. You might catch Soprano Legend on commentary. Who knows what will happen this Sunday. But that's all we've got time for tonight. As I mentioned, feel free to join us tomorrow, Friday and Sunday. But till then, we'll see you next time.